Hey there, Mama. Have you ever wondered how to garden with your kids? Today's episode is the first in a series on doing real life with our kids, and first stop is gardening. I hope you enjoy. Hey there, Mama. This is True Presence, the podcast where Catholic moms like you and me learn to be embodied souls. St. Catherine of Siena said, "Be who you were meant to be, and you will set the world on fire." In the midst of hurry, worry, and social media, we're doing a 180 and focusing on real presence, communion, connection, natural living, and bringing eternity into our hearts and homes. I'm your host, Kelsey, and I'm so glad you're here. Hey there, Mama. Have you ever wondered what age your kids are ready to learn certain practical life skills? You are in luck because I've made you an age by age guide. It is linked in the show notes, and you can grab that and see when your kids, your young kids, are going to be ready to start learning basic things for helping out around the house, taking care of themselves, and doing outdoor things like gardening. I think so often we spend so much of their childhood thinking that all of these things are stuff they're going to learn later, and we're just trying to do it for them. But you can do these things with them, and everybody benefits because they learn and build their confidence as they build these skills. They build their fine motor skills. It helps to grow their brains, and it also gives you an absolutely wonderful way to connect with each other throughout your day, just doing real life together. So grab that list, see if you can get started. I hope it's helpful to you. Hello, friends. It is springtime now, and spring is coming in full force. The sun is shining, the birds are singing, and even the night crawlers are out. So, I wanted to talk today about how to garden with your kids. Now, why am I talking about this week? I wanted to start a series on how to be present with your children, and in particular, how to have like a low screen summer and spring as that's coming up. So I know a lot of you guys are, looking at the school year ending and wondering, what can we do with our time that's going to be really beautiful, really powerful, help us to raise our children well and still not go crazy, right? So gardening is one of the things that's just such an easy and beautiful thing to do with your kids. It's so rewarding for them. It's so rewarding for the family. And this is one of those things where there's just so many benefits to doing it. You spend time teaching your kids a practical skill, and they get the reward of actually helping you to do things like put food on the table, which is such a big confidence builder. Not to mention all of the other health benefits. Did you know that there are microbes in the soil that have been shown to help battle things like anxiety and depression? And of course, there's the basic benefits just of being outside as a family and getting all that exercise. The beautiful fresh food, you get control over how you grow it if you want it to be organic. And the nutrient value of having food that fresh straight from your garden to your table, it's the best you can do. But gardening, if you've never done it before, or if you've only done it before having kids, is something that could seem intimidating. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the way that I include my children in our gardening, because I've been gardening for quite a few years now, and year after year, been putting more and more homegrown food on our table. It's been absolutely a wonderful addition to our lives. And this last year, we grew all of our potatoes for the year, which was the first time that we had a completely homegrown category of food, and the kids were really excited about that. So, how do we do this with our kids? The first thing is to get them involved with the planning and preparation, and a couple things I do for this. First, I like to get seed catalogs, whatever seed catalogs I can get my hands on. And I will get my craftier kids cutting out pictures of the things they want to grow and making a poster board of it. And then my less crafty kids doing, who are more research inclined, doing more things along that line, looking up what kind of a zone you need to grow it in, what kind of soil it likes, how much sun, and we chat about it and we start to come up with an idea together about the kinds of things we want to do and who wants to help be responsible for what kinds of things. The second thing I like to do is I like to get my kids involved in building things or making things ahead of time for the garden. So when it comes to doing things like mixing up our seed starting mix, that's something that they really enjoy doing. You take a little bit of this, a little bit of that, you get it together in the right ratio. It's very messy. Kids love mess. They love hands-on tactile sensory work. It's all around really fun. I also get them making seed tape, and seed tape is where you basically pre-space your seeds on a piece of long paper. We use toilet paper for this because it comes in a roll, and you just cut some strips of toilet paper that can be about 3 feet long and about 1.5 inches wide. And what you do is you read the instructions on your seed packet, and using a little mixture of flour and water, you glue the seeds at the right distance from each other onto this strip and fold it in half lengthwise so that you end up with a 3-foot long seed tape. And this is something you're just going to plant directly. The paper's going to decompose and the seeds will be spaced just perfectly. And it ends up being a really fun craft to do with the kids in those early months of spring when you're not ready to plant those yet. You can do this for things like carrots, you can do it for beets, all of those that you're just going to want to have in a nice orderly spacing. You can also get them doing crafts like making plant markers out of those really thick popsicle sticks, have them paint on pictures of vegetables or whatever else, and they just love that kind of thing, and it gets them so involved. Then, when it comes time for actual planting, there's 2 things. First, we start seeds inside and we also start seeds outside, but the early seeds we do inside. My kids love to help. We use toothpicks and poke a hole into our little soil pads, and they put the seeds in one at a time. This is excellent, fine motor work for little hands. And outside, we work together to prepare the beds. We pull the weeds, we mix in any additives that we need to enrich our soil. The kids help me shovel compost. So you can see after a while, they just start to get the idea. They know what time of year it is. It's time to go and get the pile of the additives. It's time to mix it into the soil so our cabbages are going to grow really well. And they learn so much from this process. You can also get them involved with helping to make your compost throughout the year, which you will then add in the early spring to your soil. And this is something that even my littlest kids have always enjoyed doing, is helping to take out the biodegradable bits from our meals, all the veggies that are left over that our other animals aren't going to eat, and add them into our compost pile and layer it with the other things, the leaves, the grass clippings, whatever else we have. It's just a way to involve them throughout the whole year in the garden prep and teach a lot of science in the process. It's a great opportunity to talk about things like the nitrogen cycle, the carbon cycle, all sorts of things. If you're a homeschooler, you can add all this in. So then during the growing season, there's all sorts of ways to involve them as well. One of the things that little kids really enjoy doing is pest control. I mean, you tell them to go and look for bugs with you. They love that. Kids love bugs. Bring a jar, bring 6 jars. Sort the bugs you find into jars and examine them. Kids also love harvesting vegetables. I, on purpose, love to plant the super rewarding ones, the things that are prolific, like beans and peas, because my kids absolutely adore going out and picking each of these every day. Even my picky eaters sometimes will eat things that they know that they have helped to grow. So one of my kids hardly likes to eat any vegetables at all, but if it's homegrown peas, she can't get enough of it. And they're also super motivated to get up early and start working because they know that if they can beat the birds to the fresh strawberries of the day in the garden, then they'll get to eat those. Is there anything like it? Finally, you can involve your kids in the preservation of whatever you grow at the end. So this is things like snapping the ends off of the beans, helping to chop any fruit, get it ready for a canning. And one of the things that I've seen this has really instilled in my kids is a gratitude for the things that are in season. Because we tend to not eat things unless they are in season or unless we've preserved them, just to try and make sure that our diet is as nutritious as possible. And that means they really savor it when it comes around. We don't eat strawberries all year round. We eat strawberries during strawberry season, and the kids love it and look forward to it. Now, one last thing I want to tell you about is what I like to do for the basic maintenance of the garden throughout the growing season. And a really fun thing we do is we do on the days that it's time to water, we pull out the sprinkler and the kids put on their swimsuits. And while we're watering the garden, they're playing in the sprinkler. And I've set up our garden. It's on a hill so that the water basically winds its way down in a little stream through the garden. And we put the sprinkler at the top of the hill where the kids play. And then the water works its way through the whole garden that way. But they just enjoy it so much, and the garden gets watered, and it becomes this thing we do in the high heat of summer that just is a beautiful end to our day every day. So if you haven't ever considered growing a garden with your kids, it is so worth the endeavor. It doesn't have to be complicated. You're going to have a whole bunch of trial and error, but there's so much fun along the way. It's a great way to get your whole family outside and involved in doing something and learning a real skill together. Hello, my friends. I wanted to invite you to my special Lenten podcast. And if you don't already know about that, I'm doing a special podcast just for moms who are giving up social media or time on their phones, who want to really take this time to connect and be present with their families. And the link to that is just down below in the show notes. If you want to sign up, the whole idea is that you don't have to open your browser. You don't have to get sucked into that vortex that is the internet to get the encouragement that you need. And bonus, if you sign up now, there's actually already quite a few episodes released in there, and you get access to all of them, even if you come in late. So go ahead, sign up. The link is in the show notes. All right, my friends, if you've been liking this podcast and you haven't hit that follow button, go ahead and do that. Then you'll see every single episode the day that it comes out, just showing up in your podcast app. And if you really like this podcast, would you do me a favor and leave me a review? And the more information you tell me about the things you like, the better I am able to make episodes like that and get you the guests that are helpful to you. I am so grateful to anyone who's already left a review. Thank you for that. So please go ahead, write a review, hit the follow button, share this with a friend. Let's see if we can find more moms who want to listen and get this out there to them so they can get benefits just like you.